Good morning, Church by the Sea kids. Happy Easter. Today's Easter morning. I'm so glad you joined me here on the church's site. I'm going to make an Easter craft with you today and tell you the Easter story. So first, I need you to get a few materials together. These should be all things you have at home. They are, and you'll see a picture of them here, an egg carton, a paper plate, paint brushes, 1 or 2 is fine, craft glue, any kind of glue will do, paint, and scissors. You can pause it now and come back when you have all those things gathered. We're going to begin now. I'm going to cut pieces of the egg carton apart. So each little egg section is cut apart, and I have one section here, and what I've done is I've kind of cut a scalloped edge, which is kind of like a ruffled edge. And then in between each scallop or each ruffle, I'm going to kind of cut into the center with my scissors. It's kind of creating a flower petal. Once I've done that, I'm going to press my fingers into the center to kind of open the flower. Next, I'm going to get my paint and paintbrush out. It doesn't matter what color you paint. It's completely up to you. And I'm going to start painting. Don't forget to paint the underside too, because we'll see those on our wreath. It's kind of a 3-dimensional flower wreath. So you'll see that I'll start cutting more and more flowers once I finish that first one. I'm going to actually show you each flower, but instead of explaining each flower, because it's pretty self-explanatory, I'm going to read the Easter story to you as you cut and paint, and you can also watch me doing it. So I don't know about you, but Easter's my favorite holiday, and I love the bunnies and the Easter eggs and the candy, but that's actually not the reason we celebrate Easter, even though it's super fun. The reason is Jesus. So Jesus had a lot of enemies that wanted to get rid of him. Jesus knew that he only had a short time left. The Thursday before he died, Jesus invited the disciples, who were his friends, to have dinner with him. It was their last meal together. "Remember me," Jesus told them, "when you eat the bread and drink the juice. I am going to live with my Father in heaven, but I will be with you wherever you go." That's what he told them. On Friday, soldiers arrested Jesus and put him on a cross to die. Jesus said to God, "Forgive them. They know not what they do." When Jesus did die on the cross, his friends placed his body in a cave and covered the cave's entrance with a huge rock. On Sunday, a friend of Jesus named Mary Magdalene went to the cave. The rock had been rolled away, and the cave was empty. She was amazed. An angel appeared and said, "Peace be with you. Jesus is risen." Jesus came back to visit his friends. He told them to teach about God's love. "Tell the people," said Jesus, "to believe in me, even if they can't see me." And then Jesus went to heaven to live with God. I hope you liked that story, the real Easter story. And I hope you've been able to cut and paint some flowers. Now, the next thing I'd like you to do is kind of use those bits of egg carton that maybe you discarded when you were cutting the flowers to make the leaves. They actually make perfect leaves. You can see mine here. I'm kind of shaping the tips of the leaves to give them a little point, and then I'm painting them green. Now, once I've painted about 9 or 10 flowers and maybe 4 or 5 leaves, I'm going to leave all my painted things to kind of dry in a window or near some ventilation, and they'll probably dry in about 10 minutes. So when they're drying, when they're sitting there waiting to dry, pick up that paper plate I asked you to gather earlier, and I want you to cut out the center of the plate. It's a little tricky. You might want your parents to get you started doing this. The trickiest part is getting the bit out of the center. Once you kind of got your scissors in and get it out, it's kind of easier. And you leave the rim of the plate like it's a wreath form. Now, once you have that, you take your glue and you put a dab of glue on one point in the wreath. It doesn't matter where. And you take one of your flowers. You can see I started with a hot pink flower, but you can choose any flower you want. And I kind of hold it to the dab of glue to secure it. Sometimes it takes about 30 seconds to a minute to get it to secure, to get the hold there. Then I go ahead, add more glue, add another flower, more glue, add another flower. The order doesn't matter. The colors don't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. Kind of like us, right? We don't have to be perfect to be beautiful. And you'll see you're soon filling in your entire paper plate, your entire wreath with flowers. Now, when I've put all my flowers on, then I go and add the leaves. You can see I just put a dab of glue on one end, the non-pointy end, and then I secure that to the plate, kind of underneath the flower. You can see my finger kind of trying to get it underneath the flower, as a flower would appear in nature, the leaf underneath the bloom of the flower. And I just go until I've used all my flowers and leaves. I actually didn't quite use all the flowers. I painted more than I used, but I thought it looked sufficiently full. And there you see my end product. And I thought it was very pretty. It made me happy to see my Easter wreath. I hope you like yours too. And I'm wishing you and your family a very happy Easter.